Hello everybody. It's been so long. It's been too long because it has been. We're a little late. We're a little late. Something suddenly came up. Okay, if you're new to the podcast, this is usually recorded on Monday night, but it's not Monday night. It's Wednesday. Is everyone okay? Everyone know I'm okay? Something suddenly came up. That's from the Brady Bunch, which aired on, I don't know what night it aired. Chime in if you know what night it aired. But this is episode 52, and we'll get into all of episode 52. I thought was the year. So, does this count as the year? Maybe we'll celebrate it like 2 weeks in a row. Like, this could 52 weeks in a year. This is episode 52. So you think this is a week, you know? And we could even have a song saying like, this is the year of podcast happened today. So that was about a request only. So that's the song. But I counted all the podcasts. This is the 52nd one. But the debut of the podcast was March 12th, 2024, which it's not March 12th yet. It is, what's today? I had to look at my watch. There's no calendar on my watch. What am I doing? I'm going to do the Google search of the day. Yeah. Man, I had a less of a voice earlier. And what is today? Tofu? No, March 5th. So it's really next week. Why is this camera moving? Hold on. You think a year in, you'd know. All right, so this is why today's March 5th. The podcast started on the 12th. So let's just address this. I don't think this is the year anniversary. I don't think I made it a year yet. I think I gotta go one more week. So this is just the end of the year. This is wrapping up the year. Wrapping it up. And then the next week's podcast will be the first of the year. The beginning of the new year. This is New Year's Eve. Next week is New Year's Day. I just want to be excited. That's all. I want it to be exciting. Hold on. Why do you keep moving, camera? I know you're heavy on one side. So that's the first thing. I know last week I said this would be the year, but it's kind of just this is the last one of the year, because then my year starts on March 12th. So that's where we're at with that. I did go missing. We usually record this on Monday after my kid goes to sleep. It's called I Just Got My Kid to Sleep. Hello, sleepers. I've missed you. I've thought about you every night since I didn't talk to you. Every night that I didn't do this was the night where I was like, I should do this. I wonder what you were thinking. Maybe some people thought maybe he's doing something really special because of the year. I just got really sick. I didn't know if I was going to talk about it because I feel like when you're healthy, which all of you I hope are, I'm going to fix this again. Let's just do it like this. If it tilts, it tilts. I'm talking about the camera. If you're healthy, you don't really want to hear people talk about being sick. But I wasn't really in the shape. So last week was the first week in a while where I didn't work on the weekend. And so as a parent, if you're a parent out there, hello sleepers, there's no background Dr. Teeth today. I'm in a hotel, and I'm not sick because I've tested negative. I'm positively testing negative. That's how I approach the tests. I want to be positive that this is negative. And so a week and a half ago, Sunday of, how do people say a week and a half? Because the week is 7 days, right? So how do you divide it? That's 3.5 days. So it would be Sunday, Wednesday. It's not hard. But I had my last show on Saturday, stand-up comedy show. And hold on, we're fixing this. I'm gonna fix it. I know you can't hear me, but I'm fixing this. I think I made it worse. Sorry, everybody who's watching. Oh, this is exciting television. So, I had my last show, February, and I opened for Kathleen Madigan in Iowa and Minnesota, which, if you don't know the Midwest, those states are next to each other. So there wasn't a lot of zooming around. It was very relaxed. Well, 2 of the shows were in the same place back to back. So it was very easy. There wasn't a lot of doing this and that and that and this and all that. And I think I talked about that in the podcast. And then past weekend, I was not working. I don't know. I just really like to take off leap year. It wasn't a leap year, but I'm not going to only take a vacation every 4 years. No, it just works out sometimes, you know? Sometimes people only go out on the road sometimes, but I go on the road a lot. But as I was leaving, my friend was like, have a good week off or whatever. And I just sort of knew that as a parent, parents would know that. And even if you're not a parent, you probably realize if you have little ones in your life at all, or pets, that it's more work to be home. Like, I would do shows on the road all the time, waking up early for flights. Totally be fine. 1 week of just being home and I'm like, I think I'm dead now. I think I might, not really dead, but I got sick a little bit. And yeah, it was great. It was a great week. But I don't know if it was, actually. I tried to do a thing, because I work at night, where I was just like, I'm just going to keep that schedule, and I'll just sleep when he's in school if I need to sleep. I say that as if it was planned. It was really like I did the podcast on Monday, and it was like super late last Monday because of specific events. You ever try to help someone with something and then they get angry? That's strange, right? It's like they get angry and you're like, well, you asked me to help you. Like, if I ask somebody, like, I need help with something, like, maybe I'm like, can you do this thing? This is a very vague thing, and then it's not done the way I want it. It's like, well, then do it yourself, or say thank you and don't ask me next time. Anyway, so last week I was up really late, and then I slept all day Tuesday, and then I just kept that pattern. You know, it's just easier to keep that pattern. So I would go to bed when a little late, and then wake up and take Jack to school, and then sleep. And I would wake up after like an hour or two, and I'd be like, I could get up, you know, but I just knew that Jack was in school till the afternoon. So I was like, I'm just gonna just see if I fall back asleep. And then I did, and then to wake up again and be like, well, he's not out of school yet. So, and I would just sleep while he was in school, and it was great. But then on Saturday, he wasn't in school anymore. And, but I still wanted to sleep. And that was not a good mixture of lifestyles, because he woke up ready for it, and I woke up, I was like, I'm ready for this, but then I didn't get to take him to school. And we did have fun. It was a fun weekend. What did we even do? I got a haircut. What do you think? Dina, Hair by Dina Rose, and on Instagram at Hair by. She's in LA. She has a link in bio. I think she's the best person that's ever cut my hair. And then we went to the park, but I'd woken up at like 6 a.m. And so by the time we got to the thing that was supposed to be like fun for kids, I was like in a little grumpy, tired mood. And anyway, but we're all better. So I think in the future, my friends, when they know I'm going to work, they should say, enjoy your time off. And it's not even really work with Jack. He's like 6 years old now. It's just, I still want to be awake, you know? I'm not going to like hand him a thing and just be like, I'll see you later. I got to be a present father. That's my goal, is to be a present father. Good present father. I know I'm present. Good. I think I'm pretty good. I don't know. I don't know a lot of other dads. I mean, I do, but their kids are older. But recently we were visiting my parents, and I said something because he didn't fall asleep at a specific time. And I said that I think I'm a bad dad, kind of in a sarcastic way. And he was like, he looked like he believed it. And I was like, no. I'm the best one you've ever had. Don't tell anybody I said that. Anyway, getting personal. My voice is still sick. Everything else, a little. I wasn't going to talk about being sick. But medicine is fantastic. And that's what I'm using to help me through my show. My show tonight was in Charlotte, and this is how we end the year, with a little bit of rough. I'm drinking some carbonated water. I think that helps. I feel like I can talk clearly if I talk like this. Can you even tell that my voice? I think I'll just talk like this. I hope it's loud enough. Is this loud enough for everybody? Why do I have to talk so, why do I have to go up with my voice just to make it sound normal? Is this normal? Is this how I should talk on the podcast? Is this gonna have long-term effects? For everybody watching the video, this is really how I have to talk. I didn't really have a lot of control over my background, and this is where the outlets were. So you might be thinking, if you're not watching it, I'm in front of 2 beds in a hotel room. And if you thought that I wanted it this way, you'd be like, well, Michael walked into a hotel room and was like, where can I shoot my podcast? And I think the best place would be in between 2 places where he might sleep. Which one do you sleep in? How do you choose? I didn't pick 2 queens beds. I just went with the cheapest room. And see, there's positives to both. That's the thing when you're traveling. Here's my take on king bed versus queen bed. I didn't even know we were getting into this today, but this is where we are. And I think we're going to have to address this at some point. And I see no reason to keep avoiding it. So when you're booking a hotel room by yourself, I don't know why I said it like that. It's fine. I love traveling by myself. It's my time off. My voice, when I come back from being on the road on Sunday, is going to be like, da, 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 da. Why can't I just talk like that? I hope this is loud enough for everybody, because I have my traveling mic. So queen beds versus 1 king bed. So here's the difference. With the king bed, you get a bigger bed, right? You can sleep like a king. No. But there's only 1 of them. But usually there's like a couch that's a pull-out couch. So that's the sneaky thing with a king bed. You think, oh no, it's just 1 bed. What happens if I meet an old friend who needs a place to crash? Am I gonna have to share a bed with this person? No. Maybe in a big city, a king is just a king. But in most, this is not tips, but insights. Now I'm just singing to loosen it up. Insights, travel insights. I bet these hotel room walls are not very thick. So, normally with a king bed, you get a couch and it's a pull out, and then with the queens, I don't have any. The only chair I have to sit on is this one that I'm sitting on. And then there's like a bench over here. You know, every sort of brand's gonna be different. So if you're looking at like, oh, separate sleeping spaces, you can fix that by just pulling out the couch. If you have a couch in your hotel room and you're not sure if it's a pull out, I would bet that it is. I'm not gonna bet money because, but I would bet that it is a pull out. And then there you go. Now, you'd have to decide who's going to sleep in the king bed, who's going to sleep in the pull-out. That would be a con, because I've only been in 1 non-bed that's been better than a bed in my entire life. 1 out of all of the non-beds I've been in has ever been better than a real bed. And that wasn't even a pull-out. It was like this chair for a solo that kind of turned into a twin. and it was so nice. My cousins in Florida had it, and it was the most, I think it was like sleeping in like a pod, you know? I was just like, I'm asleep now. And okay, so positive, king bed is bigger. Negative against king bed, you're gonna have to fight over who gets the king bed and who gets to pull out. Also a negative, there's a chance that I could be wrong in your specific situation, and there's no couch, and you'll be like, Michael, I booked this thing thinking there'd be a pull-out couch. Where I'm not responsible for anything else. No, I am responsible for what I say, but yeah. So queen beds. Now here's the positives. We'll stay positive. The queen bed positives are they're also pretty big. You know, like if you go to a place where there's doubles, that's just confusing. What do you do in a hotel? You're gonna add 2 doubles? What is this? What do you, Shohei Ohtani getting 2 doubles? He hits home runs. That was a baseball reference. It's spring training. So you got 2 doubles, that's kind of small. But if you have 2 queen, that's what I normally sleep in, as a queen. So that's the positive of the queen too. If you swim, if you sleep in a queen size bed normally, then you go to the hotel, you're gonna have a similar experience, and you might not think that is worth talking about, but I will say that over a luxurious experience, I think having a similar sleeping place is higher up, you know? Because food, you go on vacation and you want to eat like really good food, do it. That's not gonna mess with you. But sleep, I would pick like, if I had the choice, which you never do, but I'd pick like, the bed that feels like home versus one that's like a higher thread count sheets or whatever. But maybe I just don't know luxury, you know? Maybe I just don't know that life. Maybe I don't know that world. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know what the luxury is I'm missing, and I could be sleeping so much better. At some hotels, I think they're Renaissances. They give you, or maybe it's a Westin, they give you little drops that you can pour on your pillow and help you sleep. It's like I don't know, that's like an essential oil that helps you sleep. And I believe it. I believe it works. It is just kind of weird though, because like there's millions of dollars in sleep medication development that happens every single day. That's a fact. Look it up. Company spends millions of dollars a day. I don't know if that's true, but it's a whole industry. And these drops would just be like, go sleep, go sleep. That's what I do with my son when I'm on the plane. Because when I fly with Jack on the plane, I usually put him by the window. That way, in my mind, I can just fall asleep and still be a very good parent, right? Because he is in the seat, and if he's gonna leave, it's a plane, so he can't go anywhere. And to get even under the aisle, he'd have to crawl over me, and I'm pretty sure I'd wake up. So that's my, so I always sleep, and I think he should sleep too. I think he should take a nap when we fly, but he doesn't always want to do that. So as a joke, what I do is I put my hand over his eyes, and I say, 1, 2, 3, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. 1, 2, 3, go to sleep, go to sleep. And he laughs, which isn't good for sleeping, but it's fun for me. And I like to get my son to laugh when I'm on a plane, because I feel like the giggles of a child can only bring people joy or super frustration that someone is having a good time in their miserable life. Not miserable life, but on a plane it can be kind of miserable. Hold on, I'm gonna move this up a little bit. Let's see if I get some light. There we go. But yeah, so that's a fun game. It's kind of fun to like talk to your kid like you're drugging him and he's gonna pass out, because I don't really think it's like that. Like he doesn't know it's like that, but it's funny to be like, 1, 2, 3, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. Maybe I'm just maybe it's just a little demented. But anyway, so the queen set. So you have 2 beds, right? And For one person, you can't sleep in two beds at once, but you could do one night and then one the other night. And then, like, how many times are you getting your room made up in a hotel trip, right? If you're there for 5 days, are you doing it every day? If you're an everyday person, then this doesn't matter. But if you're not, like a lot of people, because I don't want to wake up, I don't want people knocking on my door. I'm not a big morning person. I usually sleep while Jack's in school. But I might switch, because who knows? But then you could sleep in one bed one night, and then the next night you go to the next bed, and then still feel that like freshly tucked in feeling, and because you can't simulate that. Who are you? Are you professional, right? And you get tucked in, unless you're like Costanza on Seinfeld. He likes it untucked. That's one of the episodes. So those are the also, and this is from my parents. They used to tell me that they still do. They're alive. That and maybe they're listening. Hi, Mom and Dad. It's been a year. How many have you watched? So you can sleep in one bed, and then you can put your suitcase on the other bed. And I haven't done that because I heard it's not good to put suitcases on beds, but that's an option. I've done it. Well, I should say I have done it. Just I'm not doing it tonight because there's a whole thing over here, just right over here. So, yeah, that's a tough choice. Usually the king is a little more expensive, but that's not always true. Sometimes the queen is more expensive because there's more people involved. I bet it's just what there's less of, If there's less available, it's more. That's how I would do it if I was following economy. So yeah, that's if you're ever on the apps of the hotels and you're like, do I get a king or a queen, two queens? That's not necessarily a slam dunk for the king if you're by yourself, because with the two beds, you could do a rotating thing and you have a place to put your suitcase. And it might be more like home. So you might be like, oh, this is cheaper. It's probably going to be less. But maybe it's cheaper and it's going to be more. Did you ever think about that? Maybe you deserve to get more for less. Maybe you're worthy, we all are, of getting more. And it's not just an upcharge. So, yeah. I was in Charlotte, North Carolina tonight. And no one brought up the podcast being late, which is very nice. No one gave me pressure about it. This is the first time it's been this late, and I didn't know I could do it this late. I didn't know until I had to, that I was like, oh, now I can do it on a Wednesday. But it was very fun. And tomorrow I go to Greensboro, North Carolina, which is why I'm doing the podcast today, because I was like, I could do it tomorrow, but then what if people in Greensboro are like, where's the podcast? So, and then Thursday is Greensboro, that's tomorrow. Friday, I go to South Carolina. While I breathe, I am free. Is that their license plate? I talked about it in one of the episodes. It was funny to me. Not the episode, maybe it was probably funny. But like while I live, while I breathe, I'm gonna look it up again. But Greenville, South Carolina, Friday and Saturday at the Comedy Zone. And then Sunday, I might be in Atlanta, but we've only sold 4 tickets. So if we don't sell more, I might go home and see Jack, which that's good too. I'm rooting for both. South Carolina, license plate motto. I don't know. Okay. While I breathe, I hope. That's what I used to make fun of. And then there's a palm tree. Where did palm trees start? I heard someone tell me recently that palm trees aren't like native to California. People just brought them there and they stayed. Is anything native to California? There are some people. So that's the weekend. And then the next week I'm in Escondido, California. And then the weekend after that, I'm in Lexington, Kentucky. So this is it. I said it like that, man. That was the end, but it's not. That's March. And then I'm back in Charlotte and Virginia Beach opening for Kathy Madigan. It'll be good. It'll be good. So, what do I got on my sheet? I wrote down, this is interesting. I shouldn't build it up so much. Jack, is my son, and he is 6 years old. And I have a joke on stage. It's on my special. Special is called He's Friendly. It's on YouTube. This is the ad part. These people pay for ads. I gotta say them. The person's me, and I pay in podcasts. I love to do my podcast for I pay for my podcast. Anyways, and I have a joke near the end of my special about how I think it's weird that we eat meat and then kids eat meat and they don't know what it is. I just think that's weird. I don't remember when I found out that meat was animals and I was just okay with it, and then I do a whole thing about it. Well, just big news recently. Well, this isn't the big news part, but Jack loves, he'll eat meat, chicken or steak. Maybe if I break up a hamburger or whatever, he's not a big thing into. He calls cheeseburgers messy because it's melted cheese. But pizza, he's fine with. So pick a lane. He did. Mozzarella versus cheddar. But he, recently, someone in his life that has a lot of influence over him was worried because he likes bacon. And she's like, bacon's not good for you. Which personally, I don't do the research on it. I don't eat bacon every day, but I eat bacon some days. I've had nutritional people speak of bacon in a positive way because of the it's protein or whatever. I'll look it up. Bacon healthy. Bacon health benefits. It's processed, high in saturated fat. They're limited. It's protein, B vitamins. What? Choline, iron, selenium. Where are you going to get your selenium if you don't? Bacon provides some selenium, an antioxidant may help protect against certain cancer. Moderation bacon. Anyway, so it's moderation. What's moderation though? Really, this isn't a food podcast, but that's a food that if I'm I would buy it when I go to the grocery store every 2 weeks, and so we'd have it once or twice, and he was told that it's as dangerous as smoking a cigarette because it's processed, and you don't want your kids smoking cigarettes. His mom told him that, and I don't know. I mean, she's probably right. There's research on all of it, but also he's 6, and his health. I believe that when you're younger, you have a lot of wiggle room on that stuff, and he'll eat it, and it's protein, and it's meat and stuff. So I didn't really have a problem. I didn't make it every day, but once in a while, right? The internet says once in a while. So if we're not gonna go by the internet, what's it there for? But then somebody told him, I think his mom told him that bacon was animals, like pigs. And then he was just like, I'm not eating it anymore. And I was just like, okay, it's bacon. In my head, I'm like, that's out. We'll find something else. But then I made chicken or steak or something, and he wouldn't eat that because he's like, is this an animal? And he started going over, this is all in one night. He was going over the stuff that he wasn't gonna. I didn't make chicken and steak in the same night, but he didn't want to eat anything that wasn't animal. And so I started to get sad, right? I started a failure, because I was like, I gotta get him to eat. Now, I don't have to get him to eat, but I feel like maybe you are a vegetarian, maybe you are a vegan, maybe you think that's the healthiest way for you to live, and I don't know whether it is or not. I just know that as a parent, I feel really good when he eats food, and I know that he doesn't eat all the vegetables in the world. He'll eat corn, and people say that's not even the best vegetable. And he'll have cucumbers, which is a fruit, I'm pretty sure. And then whatever. And anyways, so I was like, I felt like this wave of failure, which he could probably see it on my face. But he kept it together, and I was like, all right, here's the foods that we can eat tonight. And then the next night, I didn't make anything with meat on it that he was gonna eat. And then the next night, somehow it came up again. I think I warmed up some steak that I was gonna eat, and I was just like, He's like, is this animal? I'm like, no. It used, am I killing an animal to eat this? Or something. He said something like that. And I was like, no, it's already dead. And he was like, oh. And then he's been eating meat ever since. He thought that eating bacon was killing the animal, which I guess if you link it back to like, they kill the animal so you can eat it and there's a market for it because so many people buy it. But I just sort of told him like all these animals were already dead and in the, at the grocery store. And so we're just buying them to eat them now. It's not an alive animal anymore. And that was just an example of a time where I feel like a kid asks a thing and there's an answer out there that can answer the question that's accurate, at least a little bit, but will also maintain the balance of the current living situation. Like, he's 6, Maggie Simpson's 8. Give him a couple years. She's a vegetarian. It's a Simpsons, it's a cartoon. I'm not talking about Jessica Simpson's relative. So that's how to get your kid to eat meat at a young age. I don't know if it would work when he's older. And I do like it that he's sensitive to animals and he doesn't want to kill them. And I like it that he thinks about things like that so sincerely. But I also feel this sense of accomplishment, like I kind of won. Which is kind of evil in a way if you think that meat is bad. But I feel like we're not 100% that it is. And so I feel like I won. Anyway, that's a part of it. How to explain? Oh yeah, this is a lot of education is important, even if it's in a podcast. That's more, not really focused on information. That's that song. So, Jack, also, he's my son, and he has a residency. He has a room in my apartment, but he also, when I'm out of town, he spends time at his mom's house. And he's recently, in the last year or so, he's been like, Dad, how come you and Mom don't live in the same house? And what's good about kids when they're this age, he was probably like 5, maybe late 4. That's weird to say, late 4s. He was in his late 4s when he first asked, because what's good is that you can get the answer wrong and get another shot, because kids they'll just keep asking, and I don't know why. I think they forget, but maybe they don't forget and they're just confused, and then they take the new answer. So anyways, the first time he asked, they always tell you, and I don't know if they always tell you, but therapists have said to me, and my former current co-parent, that when the kid is alive, which is how we all want our kids, they see themselves as half their dad and half their mom, or half of each parent, so that's just how they see them. So if they ask you a question about the other parent and you say something negative about the parent, they're going to take it in as themselves. And even though that their kid's better than both of you combined. But so I was very conscious of that the first time he asked, and not to like say anything specific or whatever that was like could be seen as, oh, this is all this person's fault, or this person's fault, or this person's fault, because I feel like we're all biased, and I know what I think, but he's so young, right? And so I gave some answers, and I'll get back to those answers later. But then the one I landed on about the 5th or 6th time that he asked was the best one. And that one is, for me, because he brought up marriage. And he said, how come your mom didn't get married? And I think the best answer that I should have given the first time was like, some people are married. And I'm kind of taking this from a family friend, I think that said, how they explain stuff to kids. Like, some people, when they have kids, they're married, and they get married, and they have a family like that. And sometimes they don't. And kids just accept that. I think if you say it in the right tone, because he was like, he brought up marriage, and I was like, well, actually, I don't think I've ever even answered him this way yet, but I'm ready for the next time that if he asks why we're not married, I'm going to say, well, the thing about sometimes you're married, and sometimes you don't. And also the most important thing is that when you marry someone, the thing is, that means you're with someone forever. So you should really, 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 really want to marry them before you get married, whether or not you have kids. And that's, I don't feel like that was very valuable. But the other times he asked, I said something about how his mom would yell, because I thought that was like, everybody yells, and I was just like sensitive to it. And he's like, Mom yells at me too. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, but she always apologizes. So it's like, oh, that's good. Sharing too much. I don't think I'm sharing too much. Theme weeks. We had Jack had Dr. Seuss week a week ago, which growing up, I went to Catholic schools, if you couldn't tell from my current, I don't know what that means, but we didn't really have Dr. Seuss week. We had what you call Catholic schools week, which kind of rhymes in a Dr. Seuss, if you can say it like maybe in a certain way, I saw an Eminem TikTok recently where he rhymed orange with a lot of things. So maybe he could be like, we didn't celebrate Dr. Seuss because we celebrate Catholic schools. Seuss schools. So I never got to do Dr. Seuss week. And maybe no one does. Maybe this is just their school. But they had the first day of Dr. Seuss week was where Green Eggs and Ham Day. And that was my chance, because according to Jack in the family record, I am the one that has green as my favorite color. And so whenever I put something on him when he was young, he still is young, that's green, he would always see that as me trying to influence his perception of the world, which, he's wrong. I don't care what his favorite color is. So he'd be like, I'm not wearing green, Dad. I'm not wearing green. So he'd only wear blue, which, it's got its own issues. So, but I didn't know it was Green Eggs and Ham Day. So he didn't wear green. And then Tuesday was blue, red fish, blue fish. This is all very interesting. Wednesday was, I think I talked about this already. Theme weeks. We talked about it. We'll talk about it again. You're supposed to wear like his clothes backwards or inside out. And he was so against it. And I didn't have the heart to tell him, like, dude, all I have to do is let you dress yourself and not change anything. And that's this every time. I haven't seen him walk out of the house with clothes on the right way that I haven't helped him with. Yeah, and he has a 50% chance every time. Every time he has it, because it can't feel better. He even said that. I was like, how come you don't want to wear your clothes backwards if that's the theme, or inside out? And he's like, well, I did it last year and it was uncomfortable. I was like, you do it almost every weekend. Because on the weekends, when he has school, it's such like a thing of like waking him up, food, rushing it without making it. I heard you're not supposed to rush kids, because it's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do at school? Right? But that's not good. So like you rush them, but you don't have to rush them. So I just have the clothes ready. And then I just sort of put them on them, which maybe that's bad for development. But on the weekends, I'm like, oh yeah, just here's your clothes. I did that one time. I should be more hands off. Anyway, he gets it wrong, which is fine, but maybe don't rip it into it so much. But yeah, I gotta get him a dresser. That's what I need. He has containers for his clothes. But that's not college. What are you doing? What are you doing, Dad? So I think we covered how to explain my mom and dad. Yeah. Restaurant. I love restaurant bread. Why is that? I don't know. I think more restaurants should have bread. I don't know if it's changed. Like when does a restaurant decide whether you get bread? I feel like there's some restaurants that have bread and there's some restaurants that don't have bread. and you don't really know until you've already gone there. And most of the time when I go there, I want bread, guys, right? So why doesn't everybody have bread? It's not like a hard thing. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe people stop wanting it so much. That's all. That's all I have for that. But yeah, we had a great weekend off. I play in a adult baseball league. It's just adults playing baseball, and we lost. But I went home right after, which is fine. We lost. We'll be okay. And I played with Jack a lot. That was really fun. And then I had a show, and I think that's when when my body was like, you're gonna not talk for the week. So I thought my voice would be better because it was a little better. Maybe I gotta go back to my other version. I need to consult a vocalist. No, a vocal person, a person more vocal. You need to be more vocal. And then on top of all of that, I got to do an audition for a movie that that's not big enough to talk about anyways, but in the audition sides, it's very interesting. Sides are like just your lines or whatever. They send you the script, and they send you the lines, and then they send you there's this big thing on how to like film yourself doing it, and then they're like, don't tell anybody. In the breakdown of how to audition yourself, they're like, get a reader to read with you, to like read the other lines, and then at the bottom's like, do not share this with anybody. Well, how do I have someone read with me if I'm not supposed to share it with them? Just shout out just hope they guess the words. At least one person is going to see some of these scenes. And I feel like that should be accounted for. When I started living in LA, before I lived in LA, I lived in Chicago, and I would go on auditions in Chicago, and they'd mail them off to Los Angeles. And it's always, but then I moved to LA, and you get to go in person, but then COVID happened. And also I think they probably see the famous people, bigger people in person. And then, but I don't know, they could be casting this off of tape. This little BTS, right? So anyway, I get the script, and it was on my podcast day. It was on Monday is when I got the script, and it was supposed to go out this morning. And I was like, well, I feel horrible Monday, so I'm not gonna be able to do it today. And then Tuesday I could do it, but I was supposed to fly out in the afternoon. And I was like, well, I'll move my flight and then do this. And that's why the podcast ended up on today. But it's always interesting when you get an audition as a comedian, because we've done everything we could as comedians to not have to ever listen or work with people. Like the people I work with are the people that come to the show and they laugh. Those are easy people to work with. Like tonight, weeknight, Charlotte, North Carolina, that those people want to go to the show. I think they comp some people, so they might just went for fun. But like, if you buy a ticket on a weeknight, you want to have a good time. And so when people I mean, it's fun, but people ask you to do a movie, there's like a script with lines, and they're like, if you do it well enough to do it again, they'll listen to it and they'll be like, can you do it like this? And as a comedian, there's part of you that's like, don't ever tell me what to do. And but as an actor, you just gotta be like, yeah, that sounds great, you're so much better at this. Anyway, yeah, that's our lives. And then I'll let everybody know. My friend who got to read it with me knows about it, and he's a really nice guy. And he was like, text me when you book it. And here's the thing about auditions, is like for movies and TV shows, if you're getting excited, I have auditioned for many things in the last however many years that I lived and been a comedian. And a couple times you get a call or an email. It's like, hey, that was great. But getting it is like, I feel like getting a job for me is like, I feel like it is kind of like a attitude thing or whatever, because they they don't just hire, like they're hiring one person, and they might not have a bunch of people doing it, but there's some people that are auditioning who that's like all they do is act. And there's some people that audition that are like, probably like more well-known. And then they're like, oh, and then this guy. And I like doing jobs where like they only had you as an option. And then they either decide to do it or not, just based on whether you're good enough. That's like a good success level. Like if my agent calls a brewery and is like, hey, do you want to do a show with Michael? And then they look at my thing and they're like, yeah, we'll do a show. I'm already not competing with anybody. They didn't have a show there at all. That's just the success odds are a little better when there's nothing there. But it was fun. Anyway. Yeah. And then, let's see what else I can talk about for another 7 minutes, 8. You ever get advice from someone and it's really good advice, and then you hear them say something else and you're like, maybe I shouldn't listen to anything this person says ever. Like, oh man, I already put all that good stuff in my brain and he says that and he doesn't believe that. Yeah, that's funny. I do feel like advice is super weird, especially I know this isn't a really big advice podcast, but there's moments where I sing advice and then I talk about it and someone might think that's advice. And it's more like sharing. I don't know, there's some people that go out of their way to give advice, and I always feel like being like to them being like, hey, it's okay. Whatever you did wrong is gone now. It's okay. Like, I don't think I've ever wanted to give someone advice after something went well, you just sort of move along in your day, right? People want to give advice, I feel like, when they made the wrong decision and they're like, never do that, never do this thing, never do this thing. Like one of my friends, when I started out in comedy in my 20s, he was in a relationship or whatever, and it was like late night show, probably had been drinking a little bit, and he's like, Michael, never date anybody who doesn't understand that you love comedy more than them. And I was just like, I think you're in a relationship right now, and that's an issue for you. Like, I was single. I'm like, I think I love people more than comedy. Anyways, comedy's about people. The best thing ever happened to me was having more people around for comedy. Anyway, yeah, advice is, I think it's the most valuable advice is like, go learn for yourself, I feel like, right? Thanks for listening. Now let's go through all these. So what I used to do, I don't do as much anymore because I'm a dad, but I used to like just free write. What free writing is like, if you just imagine what it is to read what I've been talking about on the podcast, just read the things written. If you go to Apple Podcasts, you can read that. Just imagine me writing that. That's what free writing is. So I would do that, and then I would read it, and then I would write out things I thought could be jokes in this book, and then I would try them out on stage. And this is like 4 years old, and I never tried them all out because I was very like, if you ever read like stuff you've written with no purpose other than just like thinking it and then writing it, sometimes you feel like, oh, this part right here could be something, and then you write it down, and then you go back to it, and you're like, oh, I don't know what that means. Like this one right here, let's see. Target investment banker. I don't know what that means. Is it an investment banker that also works at Target because he's trying to get more people to invest their money with him? Or is it, I know I used to talk about how I would go into Target to buy like one thing, but then you're there and you're like, oh, I might need all of this. And then I would just end up spending like $500 on stuff. And I felt like that was more of a problem for me than Vegas, because at least in Vegas, the odds are I could get money back. At Target, the best thing I can do is spend so much money. They're like, here's a $5 gift card. A lot of the stuff was overpriced by a lot more. So here you go. I feel like that a lot. Like when CVS, I go there and they give me the receipt and there's all these discounts. I'm like, oh, thanks for telling me how much everything really costs. I'm in the neighborhood. Why don't you just give me this deal all the time? Target Investment Banker. I should probably check these off so I don't just read the same ones every week. So yeah, I'll do that. We did the advice thing. That's good. That was really, we really got these. I used to talk about like when my kid was younger, they have a lot of toys that pressing a button and making a noise is fun for adults, you know, but babies freaking love that, right? He had this one puzzle where you put like the instrument in the right slot and it plays that instrument noise, like Yankee Doodle or some song. And he loved it, and it was so cool. Like my parents got it for him, and so we FaceTime them, and he put the piano where the piano went, and go ba 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 ba, and he put the guitar where the guitar went, and boom 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 boom. I don't know why those were guitar and piano verses, and then the drums would be like boom 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 boom. Da 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 da. Is that Yankee Doodle? That's not Yankee Doodle. Ba 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 ba. E-I-E-I-O, and on this farm, Old MacDonald had a farm. That's what it was. We figured it out together. Am I gonna have to pay to use that? But anyway, he would take a nap, right, in the middle of the day, because he was just, you know, a lazy baby. No. And I get him in there, and we live on the second floor, and there's like, it's a road in front of our house where like the trucks can drive whatever speed they want to, and they can be huge semis. I don't know if you ever lived in an apartment like that. I never had. But when they drive past your house at a high speed, your place vibrates. It moves, you know? I think it's because of the earthquakes. Maybe in California, they make them so they can move. I don't know. I texted my building manager, and they're like, oh, that's supposed to be that way. Which is like, you could say that for anything. And I had to be like, all right, it's supposed to be that way. So I, sometimes if I didn't put the toys back in the right way, I don't know. I would, if I didn't turn them off, maybe a truck would drive past faster, and the whole building would shake a little bit, and then that toy would just be like, burp, 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 burp. And that, my whole thing was like, that's the scariest thing. Like before I became a dad, I was afraid of spiders or whatever. Now I'm afraid of his toys coming to life and killing me during his naps. It's just Melissa and Doug, more like Melissa and Devil. Like it was just, when there's silence in your apartment and then all of a sudden the children's toy makes noise, it's just like, no, they're coming for me. No, you're not gonna get me. So then I would like sprint across the floor and turn it off, pour all the puzzle pieces out of it so it couldn't be touched. Because I think it would like vibrate and like jump and then go back in a little bit. And I think the fear was the devil or spirits or whatever, obviously irrational. I don't know what, but then the real fear was he's gonna wake up. That's like whatever. Sure, come haunt me. That's fine. But let's let him get his sleep, right? That's all we want. All right. I'm Michael Palsak. This is episode 52, the last one of the whole year of the podcast. Thank you for being here. I love you. I appreciate it. Thank you, sleepers. Let's do 52 more years. Weeks. I don't know. Maybe just, we'll see next week. This is from the hotel. Did I ever talk about why I'm here? I'm on the road. Oh, yeah. All right. Thank you.